Hey all, this is Preston Cohn with Donor Curve, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the Google Ad Grant today because we get a lot of questions on how it works, what is it, how do you apply, like just the whole series, and even a lot of questions from folks who say, well, I've applied, but I got stuck, or I don't know how to run the ads now, or what happens, it seems like a lot of times you might connect with this is you apply, you get approved for the nonprofit account, but then you also have to go in and you have to get approved for then the secondary step, which is the ad grant itself. And that is kind of a whole nother problem or issue that a lot of people encounter. And once you've done that, what exactly does that entail? And sometimes, Google will have you have to reset it. So if you've created an ad grant account, sometimes that number, you might try to go then create another ad grant account when in fact you could have used that same number. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what I've learned, what's been successful for me and the people that we work with on the grant for Facebook ads, but also specifically in this video for the ad grant. And if you want to know more, of course, you can go to our website. It's donorcurve.conecreatives.com. You can see case studies, videos, and other things that just show that I know what I'm talking about, so you can trust that you'll get good information from this video. But first, let's just go over what the Google Ad Grant is, and then we'll go over some frequently asked questions. And again, this is stuff that you can find on our website, but I want to dive into even more about that in just a second. So many people don't know what the Google Ad Grant is, or maybe they don't know exactly how it works. Google has a Google for Nonprofits account, and pretty much any nonprofit, at least any nonprofit that I've worked with, has always been able to get approved for the Google for Nonprofits account. And that gives you a lot of different things, but kind of the bullet points that I like to focus on are it gives you free email domains. So if your website is mercyinternational.org, for example, normally you will be paying for any email address that you have with that domain on it. For example, if you want to pay for your marketer or your CEO or your executive director, or whoever that is, or all the people on your team, maybe it's 10, 15 people, maybe it's 5 people, depending upon your organization size, maybe it's 2 people. Either way, it's going to cost you probably between $5 and $10 a month for those email addresses. Google provides that for free for you. They also provide about 30 gigabytes per month per user per email address that you have. So in terms of storage, which is really great. So if you have online storage, if you want to share video assets or creative assets or photos, all of that's very easy to share rather than the problem of trying to email that content and having that trouble. So really works well, and I recommend that you do that. It also gives you a nonprofit YouTube account, which has some other benefits as well, which is pretty cool. And in addition to that, I believe there's a few other things that we can kind of go over more in depth, maybe in another video, but at this point, that's not really what my focus is, and I don't think it's really what most people's focus is. Those things are kind of secondary benefits, obviously, of getting the ad grant. The ad grant is really the most important part, in my opinion, for what can help a nonprofit. Now, what happens is you apply for the for the Google for Nonprofits account, and that gives you the things that we just discussed. After that, you then have to go in and then apply for the ad grant from Google as well, which is, it's $120,000 a year, which is amazing. Basically, what that boils down to is, you apply for the ad grant, you build out your search campaigns, and then you get the supporters and donors that you're looking for. So if you break down $120,000 a year, that's $10,000 a month. That's very simple math for all of us out there who are math wizards like me. But then that breaks down into about 5,000 new site visitors a month for your organization. Now, this can depend upon your organization, right? I've talked to one nonprofit that is very focused on a very specific illness that only affects a few thousand people in the world. There's going to be trouble getting a lot of traffic for those search terms. Now, using creativity and talking about other diseases and things that are similar to that, we'll be able to pick up on more search words and more search terms for that. And that enables us to get better results and better rankings. But it's about being creative, and it's about making sure that you're targeting the right things. Now, on the other side of the spectrum, there's things that really get a lot of keywords and a lot of searches per month. those would be things like feeding the hungry, or orphanage, or clothing orphans, or building homes for the homeless. Those types of things get a lot of searches a month. There's a lot of opportunity for us to be able to get more results from those types of keywords. So whether you have a nonprofit that might be very specific, like the first example or the second example, it doesn't really matter. To me, I think you should always be applying for the Google Ad Grant, because why not? Google provides it for you. You're a nonprofit, and you might as well take advantage of that, even if that gets you 200 to 500 clicks a month. That's 200 to 500 people a month who would not have been aware of your issue, would not have maybe possibly donated or signed up for your email lists, right? So there's a lot of value for it, and it's very, very effective in getting people. Now, remember, a Google search is very simple. When you open up a web browser and you search for something like feed the hungry, right? These are the results from that search in Google. This is the ad, the top three you can see here, they say ads. These are people who are now, my guess is, most likely using the ad grant to provide them these paid advertising spots. Now you might go, well, I never click on the ads. That's true. A lot of people don't. They go right directly past those. But there's a good portion still to this day that will click on those, and that will go, you know what, this is actually someone who makes sense. And one of the examples I use, which is not really for nonprofits, but when I was putting in grass in my house in Dallas, I searched very specifically for this particular type of grass. It was zoysia grass. And I searched for that grass, and I also realized I wasn't going to be able to do all the work myself. I couldn't go pick it up because my truck wasn't big enough, but I could have them delivered. So the first result for that specific search term that I put in was a local place that had pretty good reviews and that was keying into the terms that I needed. Their price point was average, what I saw, and it made sense. Guess what? I purchased from that top result. It was an ad. It wasn't a search result. It was an actual ad at the top of that search. And so it worked very well for me to be able to get and pay thousands of dollars to that company to deliver that grass for me and be able to use that as a service. So that is something that is a good example of how this would work for you, right? Someone's going to search feed the hungry, or donate extra clothes, or ministry in Haiti, or whatever that looks like. They're going to search for those keywords and those terms, and it doesn't have to be in order. It can be in completely different order. People want to search in whatever way they want to search. And you have to be able to get creative. Maybe even looking at some of the misspellings is a good example of something that I've learned to be able to get better results. People don't type always the best. Even with Google auto-correcting and everything else, there's oftentimes when a misspelling can work very well in getting more additional results that wouldn't have been something that would have seen your ad or your website before. From there, they click on these links and they go to your website to either support you, donate to you, or give you their email address. Now, people say, well, an email address is really not that valuable, but it is. It tells you that they are interested in your offering. It tells you that they're interested in your organization for whatever reason. Maybe they're familiar with it because they were hungry at one point in their lives. Maybe they were an orphan. Maybe they, all of these different things. Or maybe they connect to it because their family has done a lot of ministry or work with these folks overseas, and they just connect to those organizations. So they follow you. They get interested. They give you their email address. And from there, you're then able to communicate back to them very easily, very effectively, and very inexpensively, to be able to give them the information about what your organization is doing to help in this situation, how many people you've been able to impact by what you do. And then at the end of the day, once or twice a month, I recommend that you ask for something. People have not because they ask not, right? So go ahead and say, hey, here's the need that we need. We need $5,000 in order to be able to feed X number of people, or we need, $50 a month donation to be able to feed a family of 6 in Haiti. Whatever that looks like, there will be something that someone can do and that wants to do. And you know what? The fact of the matter is, a lot of nonprofits we work with, they don't want to ask. But when they do ask, the money starts to roll in because people want to be able to support something. They really do. They want to be able to feel like they're making an impact. So that's a lot about it. One of the things I talked about just a second ago was, or when we started this video, was, people will get past the nonprofit account. They'll get that status with Google, and then they have a lot of trouble working with the ad account numbers and applying that, and maybe their website security isn't correct and they don't really know how to do HTTPS or SSL, or what does that even mean. These are some of the things that we do help clients with, but I want to provide you with that information, right? Site security is something that you'll find very important, and Google finds very important for specifically nonprofits to be able to get their ad grant approved. And that's something that you'll want to make sure that you have ready to go. For example, if I were to go to mercyinternational.org, you'll see this little lock up in the left-hand corner. And what that means is it's a secure site. People can feel comfortable donating. They can feel comfortable, submitting their email address and all of those types of things. And so that enables you to be able to have that thing. And that's a thing that Google looks for. Another one is making sure that the ad grant account doesn't have a credit card attached to it. You got to make sure that it's an ad grant account. And really the only way that Google knows that is if it doesn't have a credit card attached to it. One of the things I learned very quickly as I worked on these accounts is a very important one, is go ahead and name that account. When you create it, if you go up into the settings up in the right-hand corner, you'll be able to go there and actually name that account, which is very important for being able to see which one it is. Because like I said, sometimes Google will make you start the process over for the ad grant. If something doesn't work, you basically have to start that pre-qualification over again. Just for the ad grant side, you still have the nonprofit side of things, so that's good. But that way, when you have to pull in that number again, if you have several different accounts in your AdWords account, you'll be able to know exactly which one it is. So I highly recommend that you name that account. Okay, now we're going to go through a few other frequently asked questions that I've received and help you understand kind of what this looks like. So how long does the Google Ad Grant approval typically take? It can take 2 months on the long side. I've also had it happen in 3 weeks and 2 weeks in some very rare instances. Google typically has a back and forth. There's usually some edits that needs to be made to the website. There's usually some things that need to be done. And so generally I say 1 to 2 months is on average, right? So not too long for $120,000 in value. And really, it's more than that, because you're going to get donors from this money. You're going to get emails. You're going to get a lot from this that's very, very valuable. And not to mention just awareness of who you are and what you do. How long has it existed? It's existed for about 15 years. And, I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon. If it is, you better take advantage of it as soon as you can. Click that. How much can nonprofits receive? Again, we've already talked about this, but it's $10,000 a month. That $10,000 a month should really be, maybe in your mind, considered to be $13,000 or $15,000 a month in value, because you're getting that $10,000 from Google, but you're also getting 5,000 potentially site visitors a month, which is huge awareness for who you are, what you do. It's great for the board and for big donors to see what you're doing. You're also becoming self-sustaining, because as you drive that many people to your website a month, you're going to be able to generate donors. You're going to be able to generate email addresses, which will in turn generate donors. And that's exactly why we're called Donor Curve, because over time, you acquire that donor for 30 cents or $1, or in this case for Google Grants, maybe it costs $2 to get someone to click and give you their email address. And over time, they're going to give you $5, $10, $15 over year, 2 or more of you emailing them, telling them what you do and who you are. What must you be to be approved for Google Ad Grant? Well, you got to hold a charitable status. You really got to be a 501c3 organization, as simple as that. And based in the US, I believe, From my knowledge, we've only worked so far with US-based nonprofits. You got to agree to the required certifications, and you also have to take a test for that process in terms of marketing. Very basic, very simple, but we handle that a lot for the clients that we work with, but you can do this yourself as well. You take a digital marketing test of some sort. It's a few questions. It's not too bad. And then they'll also make you go and create the campaigns, create the ad account, create the setup so that they can see that you're going to run it and know what you're doing. The final thing is you have to have a website that is both functioning and high quality and provides adequate details of your nonprofit and is secure. Those are really the things that you need for your Google Ad grant and to be able to be approved. There we go. So long story short, this is a lot of information. I'm talking about something that's very valuable that I would, if I were any nonprofit right now, that would be the first thing that I would be doing is applying for the Google Ad grant, because like I said, it's a no-brainer. I mean, if they say no, fine. If you get all the other tools that they say, but I have not had any to this day, knock on wood, that have not been approved. So my hope is that we will be able to work with you. If we can, great, get you approved. We'd love to help. If not, do it yourself. Ask us some questions. Feel free to reach out. We love helping nonprofits. It's so true. You know, I've done a lot in the past. We've done a lot with businesses, but we feel the most fulfillment, my wife and I, working on this business together, we feel the most fulfillment and help when we feel like we're directly feeding people in Haiti, when we feel like we're directly helping nonprofits here, boots on the ground, that are doing good work. And so we want to be able to be a help. So if we can, reach out. If not, please do it yourself and apply. Thanks so much. I hope this is helpful, and we look forward to providing you more videos and content down below. Thanks. Bye-bye.